We cannot solve the problems we have created with the same thinking we use in creating them. Albert Einstein. Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter, and today I would like to run through our team's business model canvas journey. Together with Andrew, Kirsten, Jasmine, and Claudia, we are the Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary. As business consultants with over 20 years' experience, we are tasked to address the wicked problem, utilizing the business model canvas whilst leveraging the design thinking principles. Why does this interest you? Well, throughout our journey, you may uncover opportunities to assist with your journey. This first slide articulates our definition of the wicked problem that we are tasked to solve. I'll read it out. As people enter their 60s, they begin experiencing physical, physiological, cognitive, and social deterioration through situations such as retiring from the workforce, losing loved ones, and natural aging processes. With a clear definition, we are able to target our research to address the wicked problem. To kick off this process, it was really important for the team to understand what the current landscape was. This led to our key learnings from the initial research. This slide is particularly powerful because it visually represents the growing number of Australians moving into that 65 plus bracket against the proportion of the population from 1994 to 2014. The data outlined in this slide was sourced from the Bureau of Statistics. The growing concern is that the rate is expected to increase rapidly in the future, highlighting the importance of implementing a sustainable solution to mitigate the impacts. The next step was to understand more on what causes biological aging. To summarize the research the team conducted, it was determined by Hayflick 1997 and Stuart Hamilton 2014 that body cells are not immortal. This statement illustrates that aging is inevitable, indicating that prolonging the aging process is the ideal direction to tackle this problem. We have listed the natural effects of aging, and this is to provide further context in the impact it has on an individual. One effect I'd like to call out is the reduced functioning of key organs. Something as simple as breathing becomes much more difficult, and the need for assistance is amplified. This leads straight into the need for active aging and its significance for the aging population. As stated by WHO 2016, which is the World Health Organization, active aging is defined as the process of optimizing opportunities for health, participation, and security in order to enhance quality of life as people age. Fernandez Ballesteros, 2008, have also provided insight into the positive outputs of active aging. This was the foundation of how we wanted to tackle the wicked problem. With the research in mind and clear direction, we came up with the initial business idea. This is summarized in 3 key points. To create a facility for formal and informal therapies and medical attention for persons nearing and in the later stage of life. To allow customers to contribute to the programs and leverage the wealth of their knowledge and experience in a relaxed atmosphere with their peers and enhance their lives and those within their network. And to treat and educate aging customers in novel, hands-on, and inclusive ways. Design thinking was one of the key methodologies that we used in developing a solution to our wicked problem by combining the various attributes. Customer insights is the voice of the customer, specifically calling out that the problem to solve is derived directly from them. Ideation is the process of exploring multiple ideas and eventually honing into one. Visual thinking is the direct correlation to the business model canvas, visually representing different building blocks and how they interact with each other. And finally, prototyping is the process of refining the business model canvas through peer feedback and iterations. This value-added approach provides the opportunity to view the issue from different perspectives, allowing one to delve into the problem and find out the root cause. This leads into prototyping in our initial business model canvas. The business model canvas is broken into 9 segments, each segment representing a building block for its activities. I'll briefly run through each block and what it means for Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary. I'll start from the center as the value proposition is what ties everything together. The key value proposition is providing physical, mental, and social support to the growing mature age population, a convenient, safe, and inviting place away from home to discuss ways to improve health. We then move to customer segments, has been defined for ages 60 plus Australians, for men and women, and for all who'd like to use the service. Key call out here is that we've decided with a broader market to help as many people as possible. From a customer relations standpoint, through personal assistance and co-creation, we've also discussed the option of utilizing courtesy buses, the channels we're going to use, access to the market through different areas, for example, GPs, social media, hospital referrals. There's the key activities, which include cooking classes, social outings, and specialist services. Key resources, which is the physical areas for cooking and activities, the specialists that come through, and the location of the actual centre. The key partners, they will vary from owners, hospitals, governments of all levels, and health insurance companies. We've got the cost structure, which covers things like employees, the specialists, any equipment that is required, and marketing. And finally, we've got the revenue streams. The three key areas we've called out is the government grants, the membership, and rebates from private health insurance. We then move into the learnings thus far. The process behind this was in an open-minded discussion by exploring all possible ideas that could fit within the initial business idea. I'll run through these. Value proposition. The use of mental may not have been accurate, so we've replaced with cognitive. Customer segments. Different age groups may have different usage requirements. Customer relationships. Personal assistance and co-creation needed further explaining. Key partners and cost structure. Health and medical supplies were missing. Key activities. The need for business development activity was missing. Key resources. A low cost but valuable feature missing from the offering. Revenue streams. A bit vague, needed greater explanation. With these learnings, we were able to update the business model canvas for its first iteration. This model highlights the key changes in red by adding more information in, clarifying, or even replacing words. Overall, the business model canvas is refined further to tackle the wicked problem. The next step to refining our business model canvas was to incorporate the key learnings derived from our peer feedback and group discussions. To summarize the learnings, we required slightly more clarification on a few points. We need to review the revenue streams, remove the lap pool due to availability of public services, and elaborate more on customer co-creation. With these learnings, we were able to update the business model canvas for its second iteration. Again, this model highlights the key changes in red, noting very minimal changes required due to the ongoing refinement of the business model canvas. To summarize, the final business model canvas, I'd like to go into each building block in more detail. The purpose behind this is to reinforce the model in its entirety and illustrate how the Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary will be brought together. Starting at the center, the value proposition. This is our focus point. This is what brings purpose and direction to the center by expressing value to our consumer. Our value proposition is providing physical, cognitive, and social support to the growing mature age population, a convenient, safe, and inviting place away from home to discuss ways to improve health. We then move into the customer segment. This is the area where we define the people that would see most value in what was being provided. To summarize, they are 60 plus individuals, both men and women, and all who wanted to use the facility. We've also taken note that there will be different usage patterns for different age groups. Our next building block is customer relationships. This segment is focused on how we would look to build relationships. The three key areas are personal assistant, which can be done face-to-face, group, and one-on-one interactions. The other is co-creation. This is when members contribute their expertise or interests to the rest of the group, and the use of courtesy buses. We then move into the channels. How would we reach our target market and where we could bolster our brand? There are a number of areas including hospitals, local councils, newspapers, independent living, GPs, rehab centres, websites and social media. All these channels will serve a purpose, whether to reach out and invite our target market to explore the opportunity or even build the name within the industry. Key activities is the next segment that will provide further context into what one would expect from the Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary. We have highlighted that the management internal service is a key component with various activities to complement the value that is being provided. This includes cooking classes, including nutrition education, rehab sessions, social outings, specialist medical services, and counseling services. Finally, we have acknowledged the requirement for business development activities to grow awareness, generate support, and complete other tasks within the spectrum. To make all these different things happen, we need to understand the different resources and partners that are involved. For our resources, the key items are the physical location, the human resources, this includes specialists, different facilities to support the activities, i.e. the kitchen for cooking, lounge for socializing, library to read, etc. One thing to note is the removal of the lap pool due to the ability to access pools at other local service providers. The partners that are critical for the success of Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary are the owners, hospitals, alliances with food suppliers, university students, government at all levels, health insurance providers, cleaning staff, WHS and infectious disease specialists, and medical suppliers. All these partners support the business in different ways. This could be done by providing a service or a product, or even support through industry channels. The next step is to understand what the cost structure is and where we would expect expenses to arise from given the activities that are proposed, the resources required to support them, and even the cost to market the business. These costs include employees, including the specialists, the equipment, which includes medical and gym, the kitchen, and food ingredients. There is also expenses of cleaning, the WHS compliances, and providing the medical supplies. Finally, we have called out the cost to maintain the facility and run the business. To offset these expenses, we have articulated what the proposed revenue streams are. This includes memberships, rebates from private health insurance, government grants, donations, and fundraising. By calling out these different streams, we can visually see where income can come from and how Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary can sustain providing all this value to their target market. Altogether, this is the Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary's business model canvas. Now, what makes this business different? Really good point. Amongst all the differentiators highlighted on this slide, the biggest is that the Wellness Center is actually targeted to younger age people and are often only for one day or up to 1 week getaways. There's really nothing for the older generation. This sanctuary is targeted to the older age group and available for a longer period of time. Co-creation is another point of difference. It adds a personalized and unique experience for members. What is co-creation? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is member-driven engagement. For example, someone who had passion facilitating can run a session on a topic they feel resonates within the group, or someone who is a dressmaker can run a sewing class. It really is members contributing to the services that are provided through the center. Now that we've established the business model, what are the benefits to the customer and how does that address the wicked problem? Well, there are multiple ways this sanctuary addresses the wicked problem. For example, with nutrition classes comes healthy eating. Counseling services to help in difficult times. Easy access to medical specialists to deliver holistic care. There are loads of benefits that are associated with the Pinnacle Wellness Sanctuary and all address the defined wicked problem. This next slide illustrates the key research questions. It is important to question assumed components of the business model canvas to ensure research is conducted that validates information and provides further context into what are areas of focus. We've called out 4 different questions, what the segments are involved, and why we've conducted those research. Before I finalize this presentation, I would like to touch on the research design component. The methodology is both ontology, constructivism, and epistemology, interpretism. The research method, both qualitative to understand behavior and emotions, and quantitative to the use of data. From a data connection standpoint, we will look to interview, complete surveys, and create focus groups. From a research objective standpoint, target population and sampling, these have also been identified. This was undertaken to outline the scope of the research, and as illustrated, the target population included residents over 60 years of age, both mixed of working and retired. The sample size is approximately 270 people using simple random sample. Finally, we have highlighted the methods of data analysis and threats to the validity and reliability of the research. It is important to acknowledge where there may be weakness in the approach taken, as it may reflect accuracy of the research. As you can see, the threats are called out down below. Sample size is too small. Sample is too random. Sample is not representative of the total population. Too many people sampled still in the workforce full time. These may lead to inaccuracies along the way. This brings us to our last two slides, which are our references used to source the information that went into this presentation. Thank you all for listening, and we welcome all your feedback.